Hey folks, it's Nick, Bootstrap Farmer. We have a new version of the double door frame that comes with the kits. Basically, we are trying to reduce the size of the kits, helps eliminate a little bit of damage that sometimes happens whenever truck drivers are rolling down their door and slamming into your door frame. So we don't want that to happen. So we're condensing the package, making it a little bit better to ship. So this is how you put it together. You'll need a drill with a 1/4 inch and a 5/16 nut driver, tape measure, marker, and then let's go down to the hardware. Okay, for the hardware, you're going to need number 10 self-tap screws. That's the one with the little hat and the little washer on top with the rubber ring. We also have a bag of number 8 self-tapper screws. That's going to go on the next step, which is installing the lock channel. Also going to be good to have something to cut the lock channel with as you're trimming out the frame. First thing you're going to want is a level surface. We're doing this on a concrete pad, so all the way around we don't have to worry about any twists or any divots in the ground, making this out of square, out of plumb. Basically, we're sandwiching these two parts together. So if you take a look, this is the door. It's very important to realize that the sides have pre-drill holes so we can actually attach it to the hoop house, and we're putting this together with these splices. So the splices, if you've gotten to this point in the build, you're already used to working with these from the hip and the baseboard. So all we have to do, this is a 10-inch splice, so I'm going to mark 5 inches. We're not building rocket ships here, so it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, just enough to get you going. We're going to insert that in. We're going to take a number 10. And I would say that it's not really important at this point, but just know that I'm installing this in what's going to be the inside portion of the tunnel. So anything with the number 10 is going to be on the inside, because the outside we're putting in the lock channel, and it's going to need a place to sit flat. So no screws, just screws on this side. We're going to do 2 per side, so 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. And as you suck that up, there's a little bit of play in there, but when the screws kind of engage both sides of the metals, it brings it up. You don't have to worry about being out of square or anything like that. Next, we're just going to join the two together and then fasten that. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to go on the other side, basically set everything up. So I'm going to do one side here, one side there. That way it's nice and flat. We're looking for these two joints to be flat together. One thing to note, I'm putting these more towards the center of the splice itself. If we measure, we still have a little bit of play, but I really don't want to come in anything past the 4-inch mark, because I don't want to, have a little bit of play in there and then just barely catch that side or leave it to where it's not as strong. So right in the middle of the splice, there you go. Now that the frame is put together, I'm going to do the other side of the sandwich, which is installing the lock channel. Just know that on the bottom, because this is a door and because we're not going to lock channel in anything on the bottom side, I'm not going to put lock channel on this splice. This splice is strong enough as it is. It's just much easier to put the lock channel down here on the ground while we're set up, and that'll also span this top part, and then we can install the door frame. I put the end of that piece of the lock channel on the very end over there. I'm going to mark the edge right here. You have about a 1/4 inch of play all the way around with this, so it doesn't have to be completely precise. Do what you want. I'm going to flip this around, cut this tail off, and then I'm going to install this piece of lock channel. I'm going to pay attention to really secure around this area to kind of bridge that splice. Again, I'm not really doing it for strength, just makes me feel better. The bottom I'm not going to do, because again, there's not going to be any plastic attached to it. So we're going to go the left side, the right side, and then here, and then when we put the plastic on, that's where it's going to attach and become the end wall. So let's get it done. So the good thing about starting with the top on this lock channel is you have one long piece of metal just helping to support and tie it all together. You're fixing to go through 3 pieces of metal: lock channel, the outside frame, and then that inner splice piece. So this is one of those times where if you go pretty crazy with the torque, you're liable to break the head. I would do the 2 on either side of the splice pretty slow. Take your time. Don't get in a rush. Don't jam it on there. Okay, when it comes to the side of the door frame, the lock channel, it's not going to go all the way to the end, so no reason to cut just yet. I'm just going to butt it up right there, make a square joint, a few screws along down the line. We'll do that with both sides. cut 2 little splices at the end, and then we're done with this portion. All right, so now the only thing we have to do is cut these 2 little joints right there, put those in. So we're going to take this over to the hoop house. This is a good time to stand this up, turn it all the way over, get all those little bits of metal and anything else that's in those grooves out of there. And then because people are gonna be parking on here, we're gonna make sure that we sweep, blow, make sure that nothing gets stuck in the tires. Let's take it over there. So we'll just stand it up. And also, remember, this is the bottom, this is the outside, this is exactly how it's going to be faced over there. So, you know, for what it's worth. All right, the door frame is in place. We're fixing to put it up. Really great if you had 4 clamps, 2 on each side, a 4-foot level, and then a torpedo level with a magnetic strip on this side. We're going to pull the door frame up, we're gonna level it, we're gonna plumb it, we're gonna make sure it's nice and even all the way around, and then we're gonna clamp that guy into place. We're gonna install the 2 1/4-inch bolts on top, 2 1/4-inch bolts on the bottom. That's gonna be done through the access holes that are already pre-drilled on the inside of the frame. Here we go. As you put this up, you're gonna have to decide how you intend to use your door. And that's gonna let you figure out how deep this is going to be. Are you gonna bring more dirt in? You're gonna bring mulch in? If so, you don't wanna cover the threshold of the door and get it clogged up every time you're coming in and out. Also, you don't want it so high that if you're taking in a wheelbarrow or a cart or something like that, that you're not like giving yourself a speed bump. So this level part is several inches down. That's to account for a little bit of drainage on this particular piece of property. I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit, gives us a chance to backfill, and it's not gonna be hard on the wheelbarrow or the people coming in and out, and it's gonna keep everything inside. So just a little tip, we're gonna start leveling. I'm gonna shut up for a minute. All right, the frame is level. It's clamped into place. Now it's time to secure it to the frame. So these uprights go all the way to the top, and the bolt rests on the inside of the frame. There's already pre-drilled 1/4-inch hole. So now what we need to do is go through the hole on the inside and punch a hole through this ridge pole, through this upright. And that will allow this bolt to come all the way and then fasten down with washers and bolts. So once the drill bit is pushed through, you're gonna take the bolt, go through the hole that you just drilled, through the frame, and now you have enough thread to secure it. All right, so we can take a 3/8 inch socket on an extension, stick it through that hole, mount it to the head, bring a crescent wrench because somebody forgot the rest of their ratchets, and tighten it down. All right, now that this side is secure, the door frame is completely put together. If you want to take a look and see how we do the doors, click the link above or check out the instructions for the whole kit down below if you have any questions about the entire build. Speaking of questions, if you'll hit subscribe, you won't miss the next video in which we take the shutters and then the power fan and we talk about the thermostat in the next video. We're gonna get to work on it right now.